there, welcome to this episode of KathyLanham.com. I'm Kathy Lanham, and this is the place to be if you want to be a more savvy side hustler. It is my desire and passion to help you develop your God-given gifts and talents so that you can bring those gifts to bless not only your family but the world. So I hope that you will grab a pen and a journal because I am going to tell you today's episode is chock full of value, and it's called, What's Your IPA of Choice? Let's have a business happy hour. So, hope you'll be with me after the break. All right, I promised you a happy hour, so here we go. IPA. It's not that kind of IPA, not a little pale ale, but what it is it's our income producing activities. Now, when we talk about business happy hour and investing in your time and working your tail off to make your side hustle happen, I know that you are invested. So what I want to do today is give you some help and some hints and some tips on how to master the illusion of balance in your life. Now, we all look like, and this is going to jingle because I've got my bracelets on that I did not take off, but we're like those acrobats in that section of Disney World where they're doing the outside thing and they have the plate. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but they've got this table full of plates and they've got the plates up and they're putting them and they're trying to spin them all and they just want to spin them all as they're going. And it's so amazing because they end up getting like 20 or 30 plates in the air all going at the same time. Now that's great if you're an acrobat. It's not so good if you're a busy mom and you have so much potential, or if you're a busy executive or a busy entrepreneur and we believe the lie that we can do everything and we can keep all the plates spinning and that we can do what it takes to keep everything in our life. So we've got our work balance, we've got our balance of the kids and all of their activities and our husband and spouse or significant other. We've got the mother-in-law, the father-in-law, the family, the health issues, the dog, all of the things, our career and our entrepreneurial baby that we want to bring to life. So all of those things are so important, but to think that we can keep them all in balance all at the same time is a little naive. It's also a little simplistic, and it's also a little far-reaching. And we do it for a while and for a season, and it seems to work, and then we sort of burn ourselves out. So let's go through 5 important steps that'll help you, hopefully, to achieve that illusion of balance. Now, when you look up, if you do time quotes, oh my word, there's so many. I mean, it's like pages and pages of quotes about wise men who have handled time wisely and they have things to say about it, or people who regret time or regret the things that they didn't do. So hopefully too, the value of today will be that you won't do that. So the first thing you have to do if you want to be a savvy side hustler with your time and maintain this illusion of balance is that you have to really, really, really be intentional. You cannot be managed by the tyranny of the urgent. Let me repeat that one. You cannot be managed by the tyranny of the urgent. This is our hashtag hot mess. This is our hashtag always behind. Hashtag can't get it all done. There's too many hours. There's not enough hours in a day. It's letting the fire that's burning the brightest get your attention, and you put it out and you go to the next fire and then you go to the next fire. That's where the videos that I've done on systems and schedules, that'll really help with that. But so you have to learn that your habits and how you spend your moments ends up being how you spend your days. And our habits influence a lot of that. And your call to action is going to be looking at how you spend your time. So that's our first one. Do not be managed by the tyranny of the urgent. And the adage that you can work part-time and you can work full-time, you just cannot work sometimes, is so important here. Now, I know if you're a busy entrepreneur that you are working it probably in all of the nooks and crannies in your life, and I've said that for many years, it's a thing, but you have to be intentional and you have to set your mindset on working in the nooks and crannies. You can't just let the nooks and crannies be filled with Candy Crush or The Bachelor. You have to be intentional about your time on that. Okay, the second one is that you need to set some savvy goals. And you know, if you've watched that training, and hope that maybe in the post notes we can attach the document, or maybe over on my website. But savvy goals. So what that means, S dot A dot B dot V dot Y dot. So the first S is set the goals. Write it down. Be intentional. And right here is where most people get derailed. We get put off kilter by the fact that we think and we dream and we plan, but we never actually write it down, and so we never actually execute. So you do have to write the goal down. And I've done a whole training on this, so I won't belabor the point, but that is so important for you to remember as your first. And then the A is that it needs to be attainable. Now, when I say it needs to be attainable, I'm not saying don't make a stretch goal. By all means, stretch yourself all day long, sister or brother. But it needs to be realistic, it needs to be relevant, and it has to have a timestamp. If it doesn't have a time, then it's a wish. So it's fine to dream. We need to break our dreams down into goals. We need to write those goals down. And then we need to set the goals, and then they need to be attainable, realistic, relevant, and with a timestamp. Now, our brains are wired to help us succeed, so that's important to remember that. That's why it's important to write it down. Okay, your first V is it needs to have value, and this is value to you. What's your why? This is when I don't care what company you're in, you've probably had training on what's your why, and it has to be emotional. What'll make you get out of bed on a bad day? What'll make you work when you don't want to work, or when it's cold outside, or when it's raining? So your first V is value. The second is hooked to that emotional why, and that's your vision. What's the vision that you have? And this is going to tie into what's that big dream. If money and time and kids and husband and location, if all the obstacles were removed, if you would take all of those things out of the equation, what would you want for yourself? What does that dream look like? Because that's the second V. That's your vision. And then the last letter, Y, sums it all up. And it has to be yours. You have to do this work. You have to do the introspection. You have to look at it. It has to be your goal, your dream, your vision, your why. Because at the end of the day, you're the one that's doing the work. You're the one that's making the plan happen. You're the one that's having to do all of the things, because it's worth it for you to do the things. So make a savvy goal. That's my second little point, and my 5 of the IPAs. But my third is actually, what's your IPA of choice? And IPA does not mean a beer. It means your income producing activities, your ROI, your return on invested time, return on investment. So what are the things in your business that you need to weed out, that because they feel like work, but they really aren't? Like, and you know, for me, right off the top, I'm going to say, do not scroll, do not scroll, do not scroll. And whatever that scrolling device of choice is, because it will just take you right down into it'll take you like a slew. It'll suck you right in like a wookala. You have to know the Tim Conway movie to get that reference, but my children will be laughing at that. But it'll suck your brains right out, because you're gonna check one little thing, and it ends up, oh look, it's so and so's birthday. Oh my gosh, so and so died. Oh, their dog. Oh, look at this, a new grandbaby, and we are off into Facebook frenzy. Now, we're not even going to get into the social media comparing of yourself. So do not scroll. Be very intentional. And it's also not stalking people and adding them and asking them to like you and all that. Anything that you're doing that's not leading to a decision, asking for a decision, or making money in your pocket is not working your business. Okay? Now, I'll give you another example. Like if you want to contact, let's say, and it's a very admirable goal, let's say that you're going to contact 50 people. That's great. But making your list and spending time and drawing your circles and doing all of that other things, that's not an IPA. So making the list has value, but you have to contact the people and you have to ask the people for a decision. Okay? So an IPA is an income producing activity. I used to work for a company where we would say organizing your stickers is not the same as selling your stickers. But now there was plenty to do. There was hours of stuff that you could do there. But that's not income producing. Another thing that's a real big one is reinventing wheels. Like if you're creating content that because your company just doesn't know how to do it right, and they ain't doing it right, so you're gonna make your own. Why? Done is better than perfect, and good is better than perfect, and good and done is done. So use what they have and move forward. Don't recreate the wheel and waste time, hours of time sometime, trying to do something or learn a program that's gonna create a piece of work. So that's my encouragement to you. There is, do not reinvent wheels, do not recreate content. Just do the things that will make life easier and make a paycheck happen at the end. And if you think ROI, return on investment, I'll give you one more example. So yesterday I went to help a client. She was an elderly client, lovely lady. I meant to stay 1 hour, but I had already driven 30 minutes. Anyway, ended up, because she was so deficient in her computer skills, that 1 hour ended up being 5 hours, and there was no pay for that. I don't care what she bought. So now I don't regret doing it. It was wonderful. It was an act of service. It was fun, but that was not an income producing activity. Okay, that was an act of service and love. All right, number 4. We'll move on. Number 4, delegate what you hate. Got that one? Delegate what you hate. If paperwork is not your thing and it's not going to produce you income, but it has to be done, that's a needful thing, then hire somebody or ask somebody to come alongside you, maybe trade for product, whatever, but get help with that. So if you are cooking dinner, then your husband maybe can load and unload the dishwasher or get the kids in bed. Maybe it's vacuuming, I don't know. But you also need in that delegation is you're going to delegate your time very carefully, and you're going to learn to say no with grace. And this is all still under point number 4, but learning how to say no. You don't have to go and do everything. You don't have to be the person that handles every task, because if you want something done, ask a busy person. And you, I am sure, because you're savvy, because you're here, because you're doing personal development, because you're growing, you, I'm sure, are a target for every project and every parent list, and be the team mom of this and be of this, and you can justify it in your mind. Oh, I'm going to make new contacts. But if it's costing you way more hours than the contacts you're making, it is not an income producing activity. The number 5, I'm not going to belabor this and keep you all afternoon, but number 5 is that you matter. You're important. So in the working sometime, part-time, in working the full-time or part-time, but not sometime, means that you make appointments to work. And if you have to set an alarm, you also make appointments to shut it off. You do not fall into bed every night at 2 o'clock in the morning. You have time to breathe. You have time for affection. You have time for your kids and your spouse, your